Hey everybody, this is Brian with Potato Shop Podcast, and I just wanted to jump on here real quick and talk about the Wilder versus Fury 2 championship boxing match. And if you haven't heard by now, Tyson Fury is your new WBC Heavyweight champion. I watched it out at Buffalo Wild Wings, and every seat was full. There was people standing. There were still spots that you could stand in, but it was a packed house. And it was really nice being out in a place where there was a lot of people there to see a heavyweight championship boxing match. The fight itself was very good. Now, I scored every round to Tyson Fury. There was some big shots that were landed by Wilder, but for the most part, Tyson Fury was in control with his big punches too, and he was also landing jabs. He knocked Wilder down in round 3, and I believe it was probably around there you started to see Wilder stumbling and looking tired. There was one technique that I was watching Tyson Fury do, and they would tie up, and he would put him in a position almost like a professional wrestling move, the DDT, and then Fury would almost lay on him. So by doing that, for that few seconds, Wilder was having to hold Tyson's body weight up. And I guess that's a strategy in boxing. I've never paid any attention to it until tonight, because usually I see them tie up, and I always figured, well, they're tying up because they need to get a little quick break or whatever the case might be. But tonight it just seemed like Fury was doing it specifically for tiring out Wilder. Like I said, every round went to Fury. Wilder had a couple shots that looked good and were very hard to Tyson, but nothing wobbled him, nothing threw him back. I mean, obviously his head snapped back, but other than that, Fury was in complete control with his jabs and his heavy hands. So Wilder went down another time, but I think he went down about 2 more times. One time he got tripped. One time he was throwing a punch, and like he couldn't keep his balance. So it was very much like his equilibrium was off. That's the worst thing about watching any event, UFC, boxing, or any sporting events where you need to hear the commentary, because I wanted to hear what the announcers were saying, because maybe I was missing something because I was looking at something else. When at the end, it ended in the round 7 by referee stoppage, and when you watched the replay at the end, Fury was getting his hands inside, and he was hitting Wilder. But it was no different than the other rounds before that. And I would probably say in round 5 or 6, there was a couple times where Wilder was stumbling, and you could have made a call to stop the fight there. And I don't know if it was going to, it'll probably be, people will be throwing up their hands and saying, oh, we've got to run this back right now because that was a bad stop. But Fury was definitely in control of the fight. I think he did an excellent job. We talked about it on our last podcast about him changing trainers and going back to the drawing board to see what he could do better, since he was feeling like he had lost. And let me just say real quick, as the undercard was being shown, they would go to the back, and Fury would be on the couch, and he was relaxed. And then you would look at Wilder's locker room, and he was stretching, he was pacing. It was like he was warming up. And I looked at my buddy who I was at the bar with, and I said, I think Fury might lose because he's not taking it serious. And even he said that he went back to the whole Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate. Like, Rousey would come out with a mean face, ready to fight, and Miesha would come out smiling, waving, and of course it would always end with Ronda Rousey as the victor. So I was thinking, well, that's might be how it's going to go. I wasn't certain because I had also listened to other people talk. This is what happens when you listen to the talking heads on the television. But some of them were saying that maybe he was not into it. Something's going on because of the weight gain. But obviously he proved everyone wrong. He's now the WBC champion. What I'm really hoping to see happen is him go and fight Anthony Joshua. Let's tie all the belts together, and then he can go back and fight Wilder again, because I believe when they signed this contract that they had a trilogy fight signed also. So that's what I would really like to see happen. But once again, if you get an opportunity to watch this fight, watch it. You're going to like it, unless you're just anti-Fury and you hate him. But otherwise, it was a good boxing match. It was a good box to show you how a heavyweight should use their weight, like I said, because he laid on top of him while he tied him up. It was an excellent show. The crowd really enjoyed it. It was nice to see heavyweight boxing back where it needs to be. So that's about it. I'm going to get off now. So once again, please follow us on Twitter at Potato Shot PC. You can also hear our podcast every week on SoundCloud, right here on YouTube, or other places that you get your favorite podcast. So until next time, I will see you later.